Hello and welcome to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for another video today, and we are going to be analysing the title race in La Liga, as this weekend it took a very dramatic twist. Yesterday, of course, we dropped points at home to Celta Vigo in a 2-2 draw, and at the time, the early kickoff on Saturday, that looked like very big drop points. It looked like Atletico might catch us, Real Madrid might close the gap, Valencia as well playing Getafe today, and that was expected then that everybody would sort of close in on us and our gap then would be trimmed. However, things did not go entirely as expected. Atletico Madrid needed a late Griezmann goal against Sociedad to win that game. They were the big winners this weekend, but Real Madrid failed to take advantage. They dropped points yet again away from home. They dropped points at the new San Mamés against Athletic Club. That finished 0-0, and today, the biggest shock of all, despite playing the majority of the game with 10 men, Getafe at home managed to beat Valencia, which means at the end of the day, our point against Celta Vigo wasn't necessarily a bad one, and we are still in a very strong position in the league table. And we're going to be taking a look at Atletico Madrid, at Valencia, and of Real Madrid's fixtures coming up now in the next 8 games or so. We're going to be looking at all the opposition, we're going to be looking at the stats, and having a look at who has the best chance right now of winning this title, and who is going to come the closest to mounting a challenge to ourselves. Valencia are currently in second place, Atletico Madrid are in third, and Real Madrid right now are just about hanging on to 4th place. So if we just take a look at the table as it stands right now, obviously as the games go on things can change quite dramatically, but right now we are top of the table with 36 points. Valencia are in second place. They remain, after their loss, 5 points behind us now. They did cut the gap last weekend to 4, but they're now 5 points behind us thanks to Getafe beating them today. Atletico Madrid have closed the gap considerably to second place. They're just a point behind Valencia now and 6 points behind ourselves, and Real Madrid in 4th place there, 28 points from them, a massive 8 points behind us in the league. And you can see there, they're only 4th on goal difference. Sevilla on the same amount of points, both on 28, and Real Madrid this weekend once again failing to capitalise on drop points by us, them drawing away at Athletic Club. So like I said, we are going to have a look at the fixtures for all 4 of these sides, and we're going to be having a look at the title race in a lot more detail. And I'm going to be showing you in this video why personally I think Atletico Madrid right now are our closest competitors. They got some very favourable fixtures coming up, and don't forget, in January the transfer ban is lifted. Diego Costa will join the club, and so will Vitolo, 2 very important players. Simeone requested those players personally, and they are gathering a bit of form right now. They're doing it very quietly, like they always do, but they are sneaking up on us. Valencia could fall away, but they could continue. The thing with them, of course, no European football for them this season. Marcelino, a very astute coach, has got most of the time a full week to prepare his team for the weekend's matches. And Real Madrid right now, under Zinedine Zidane, are under immense pressure. They only have 7 games up until February. The rest of us, we're going to be talking about 8 games in the lead up to February. Real Madrid, of course, go off to the Club World Cup after next weekend's fixtures. They will then be in the UAE for those games before returning for that massive Clasico match on the 23rd of December. But if we kick off here with our fixtures, first of all, we are top of the league, we are going to go first, and the next game in the league for us is on the 10th of December away at Villarreal, a difficult game there. Then we face Deportivo at home on the 17th, and then on the 23rd of December we go to the Bernabeu to face Real Madrid in that Clasico match. Then in the new year we face Levante at home before going away to Real Sociedad at the Anoeta, where we struggled many a time over the last few years. Then we go away again to Real Betis, again a very difficult game there. Alaves at home before at the start of February we go away to Espanyol in the derby, which once again is a very difficult game indeed, a very hostile atmosphere there against Espanyol. So looking at those fixtures, you'd pinpoint sort of 4 away games which are really tough ones. Villarreal away, Real Madrid away, Sociedad away, and then Real Betis away as well, with Espanyol, the derby, a very difficult one too. So in those next 8 games, 3 of them are at home, 5 of them away, and right now, as of today's table, we face 3 of the top 6 in those games. So difficult ones, but looking at the fixtures from all the other clubs, this isn't the most difficult run. We've got a lot of away games in there. We've got the most away games out of the other 3 teams. All of our games away from home are difficult ones, but if you look at Valencia's fixtures, and especially Real Madrid's games, there is worse out there. And we are going to move on now to Valencia, who are in second place, and look at their fixtures in the next few months. Celta Vigo at home next week weekend for them. We've seen this weekend that Celta Vigo can be very, very tricky customers on their day. Then they go away to Eibar, and on the 23rd of December, they face Villarreal at home. That could be a tricky game against Villarreal. Then in the new year, they got Girona, they've got Deportivo away from home, then they've got Las Palmas away before facing Real Madrid at home at the end of January. And then following that game, they've got another very difficult game. They go to the Wanda to take on Atletico Madrid at the very start of February. So really difficult games there coming towards the end of January for Valencia. Out of their 8 games, 4 of them are at home, 4 of them are away. And they also face 3 of the current top 6 in their fixtures: Real Madrid, Atletico and Villarreal. All going to be tough games for them. Now on to Atletico Madrid's fixtures, who, like I say, out of all of them, these are by far the most favourable games. And not only that, the majority of them for Atletico Madrid are at home, because at the start of the season they played a lot of their games away from home. They were still waiting for the Wanda to be completely finished. It is now, of course, and they're starting to make it a fortress. They start next weekend away at Real Betis. That could be a difficult game for them, but then they're home against Alaves, they're away against Espanyol, they're home against Getafe, they're away against Eibar, home against Girona, home against Las Palmas, and the only really difficult game there, you would say, would be Valencia at home at the very start of February. The 4th of February, they take on Valencia, but 5 out of the next 8 games all at home, and in those next 8 games, they only face 1 of the current top 6. So very, very favourable fixtures for Atletico Madrid, and all, of course, in the new year with those new signings. And finally then, on to 4th place, Real Madrid's fixtures. Like I say, they only have 7 fixtures as opposed to 8, simply because they do miss a week after next week because of the Club World Cup. But next weekend, they host Sevilla at the Bernabeu, and that will be an absolutely massive game. If they lose that game, which they have done at home this season, they've not been great, they've dropped points, they've got a few suspended players in that game. Casemiro will miss it, Ramos, of course, got sent off, Carvajal suspended for that game as well. So Sevilla at home for Real Madrid is not going to be an easy game. That's their final game before they go to the United Arab Emirates for the Club World Cup, and from there they then play Barça, of course, El Clasico, 23rd of December. They've got that game at home. Then in the new year, Celta Vigo away from home. That's a really, really difficult game on the 7th of January. Then they've got Villarreal at home. Once again, difficult opposition on any given day. Deportivo at home. Then they go to Valencia, a massive, massive trip, and a very difficult one there to the Mestalla, before they finish then at the start of February away at Levante. Real Madrid play the most games against top 6 opposition. They play top 6 4 times in their next 7 games. 4 of them coming at home, 3 of them away from home. So when you're looking at the quality of the opposition each of these teams have got to face in the coming weeks, it is quite clear who has the most difficult fixtures here. When you look at the average position of each one of their opposition, Real Madrid have the most difficult fixtures. The average league position of their games is 7.8. So the average team that they will play in their next 7 games, they're 7.8th place in the league. So in the top half, most of their opposition are well up the table. Then you go on to Valencia. Their average position for the teams they will face is 10.5. So we technically, according to league position, have got the second easiest games on paper in the next 8 games. We've got 12. That's the league position of our opposition. And Atletico Madrid, they on paper have the easiest games. 12.5 is their average place in the league for their opposition. So it's really, really interesting to look at it like that. Obviously, games are not played on paper. It would be a lot more simple if they were. But I think looking at it, Real Madrid's games, especially with that trip then to the Club World Cup, it's a long journey. The Clasico is going to be massive, but like I say, Atletico Madrid, with those new signings, the gathering momentum under Simeone, they could definitely be dark horses, and we have to keep an eye on their progress. Especially as well when you consider how many of these teams have actually faced further top 6 opposition, because Atletico Madrid once again have faced the most difficult games so far this season. They have played 5 out of 10 games against the current top 6, because if you look at the top 6, Atletico Madrid, of course, are on their own. They can't play themselves. Then you've got Barça, Valencia, Real Madrid, Sevilla and Villarreal. And so far this season, Atletico Madrid have already faced Valencia at the Mestalla. That one ended 0-0. They've already played Sevilla at home. They've already played Barcelona at home as well. They've played Villarreal at home, and they've played Real Madrid at home. So they've already played some very, very difficult games in the league against the current top 6. Valencia so far have played 4 out of their 10 games against the current top 6. They've already played Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. That one ended 2-2. They've already played Atletico Madrid at home. They've already played Sevilla at home. And of course, they've already hosted us at the Mestalla. So they played 4 out of 10 of their games. We have played 3. 2 of our games, though, away from home. We've got to bear that in mind. We've played Atletico Madrid at the Wanda. We've played Sevilla at home. And we've already had to travel to the Mestalla. And once again, Real Madrid coming out of this in the worst possible position. They so far have only faced 2 of the top 6. Valencia at home and Atletico Madrid away. So they have got still a lot of tough fixtures in store for them and a lot of tough games coming up. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how all this pans out. Of course, like I keep saying, it's not on paper. But if it is on paper, it's looking okay for us. It's looking good for Atletico. Valencia are going to be tested. But Real Madrid, considering the way they're playing, considering the way the confidence is right now, especially with their forward players, they're not scoring goals. And they've got really, really big tests to come. Can they overcome that? Right now, I would not be so sure. So as always, guys, leave your thoughts down below. What is your thoughts on the title race? This weekend, of course, we thought we might have dropped points. We thought things might look down a bit. But after all, the results that have come in this weekend, we are still very much favourites. We're still in a good position. We've got to keep going, of course. The injury to Umtiti is very, very difficult to take. We've got to bounce back from that, though. We've got to keep our heads up. We're top of the league right now. And believe me, we intend on staying there. I'll see you very soon. But until then, as always, Vesca el Barça.
Barça, Barça, Barça.